Hello and welcome to episode 144 of the Pos-cast. Rabbi Shmuel Posner, myself, Seth Hellman. Rabbi, how are we doing today?
Baruch Hashem, we're good. We're in the month of Shvat. I was asking a couple of guys yesterday, where in the Torah we have Rosh Chodesh Shvat in the Torah? And they didn't know. It's in the beginning of Chumash Devarim, the third pasuk or second pasuk, where it tells us that Moshe talked to the Jewish people when they were about to at the edge of the Jordan River, right on the east border. Moshe didn't cross over, and he spoke the whole book of Devarim there. And when was it? The first day of the 11th month, which is Chodesh Shvat. And then it says Moshe spoke the Torah and spoke in 70 languages. And the Rebbe connects this to the previous Rebbe, whose yahrzeit is the 10th day of Shvat, who also was the innovator of taking Torah, Chassidus, Chabad, and translating it into other languages when it came to America. So there we are in the month of Shvat. Now, as I told you last week, my birthday was on this past Shabbos. Did you guys know that?
Happy
And
birthday.
I was at the oil, and then while I was at the oil, I got this photo, which you'll see now if Seth does his job. There it is. So
I know that lady.
If you guys are good postcasters, you'll know the guy on the left is Arik, who was on with us right after October 7th, almost 2 years ago, well, more than 2 years ago. And that's Rachel, who's with us live in studio. Well, actually, she's not live in studio. Get the pictures away. Get rid of the picture. And on my screen, I'm on the top right. Seth is right below, which is good. He's a producer. He should be there. Then on the left top is Idan, and below him is Rachel and their husband and wife, which is, I think Idan arranged it to be that way, God forbid. When Mashiach comes, it says the women are going to be above the men. So let's get ready for that. So I was at the oil, and, being at the oil is introspective. It's your birthday, it's introspective. And the more birthdays you have, the more introspection there is. And so like three things happened while I was in the oil. And it all had to do with alumni. All like one guy that I haven't seen that has graduated like over 30 years ago, and whole story with him and how he was coming back to whatever. It's a whole story. I'm not going to tell you the story now. And the other one was a family that was alumni and had to help them get into the Bible school. And then this, where Arik met Rachel in the supermarket. So
In the greengrocer.
I said, Arik, you run a vegetable store now? And so then I said, oh, we should have them on. So actually, originally I booked you and Arik, but then and then you said Idan will come on. I said, forget about Arik. We'll get him some other time. Besides, he needs the whole screen for himself. He does all
big guy.
He's a big guy, right? And he has a big beard. Even his beard needs two slots. So here we are with you guys, which is great. This is great. This is amazing. So
Great to see you, Rabbi Posner.
Thank you. All right. So we want to know about your lives. So you give us a little background to bring us up till when you got married, right? And then what happens after that? So we'll start with Rachel because we know we're longer.
So I went to BU, originally from West Virginia. I don't know how much you want to know.
So, what state of Judaism were you when you came to BU?
So I grew up traditional, whatever that means. We would have like Friday night Shabbat dinners and light candles and things like that. But then we would like all sit down and watch a movie together. We always kept a kosher home. Like I always ate kosher in the house. But kind of a mix of things, hodgepodge. And then we always had a connection to Chabad, a Chabad family in Crown Heights, the Liebermans. From when I was a baby, I think Rabbi Lieberman, Chaim Meir Lieberman came through West Virginia and met my parents. And so they kept a connection all those years. And he suggested to my parents, why not send her to a Jewish camp which was Amuna, and that's what I did for a summer when I was the summer right before I went into high school. And on the way back, my dad picked me up from camp, and then we drove through Pittsburgh. We just stopped at a kosher bakery there, and we're waiting in line, and this lady started talking to us, striking up a conversation, and somehow my dad mentioned that I'm going back to West Virginia and going to public school, having come from this Chabad camp. And she was like, that can't be, you can't do that. Rachel Shlomo, if anyone knows her, she's quite a character and a powerhouse. And she was like, you have to come with me right now and drive over to this Chabad school that we have that's amazing, award-winning, and you have to see it. She has to come here. Like, you can't go back to public school. And I was like thinking this lady's like pretty nutty. And my dad was like, let's go. So we drove over to this high school, and we're walking around, and it was like much smaller than any school I'd ever been in. So I'm thinking like, this is just totally nuts. And then she's like, now let's go to my house, and I'm going to make some calls to see where she could live. Like where I could live, because they had boarders. They didn't have a dorm. So she's like, let's go. So we're standing in her kitchen. And I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, this is the biggest, nicest kitchen I've ever been in my life. And she's making calls. And then she's like, okay, you guys go home and I'll be in touch and we're going to make this work. And I'm driving home with my dad thinking like, telling my dad, like, Dad, what is this serious? Like, this is crazy. And he's like, let me think about it. And then to my parents' credit, like seriously, I went home and they were like, listen, Rachel, they sat me down and they said like, why don't you just give it a try? You're not going to get a Jewish education here in West Virginia. So just like go. And if you don't like it, you can always come home, like give it a month. And if you don't like it, you can come home. So I was like, really, I mean, I was already like practicing with the soccer team. I was like already signed up for my classes. Like it was so weird, but I was like, okay, let's just do it. And so I agreed, and then I went, and that was like my journey into Orthodox Judaism, Chabad, whatever. So I boarded with this great family, the Sauls in Pittsburgh, and I went 4 years to Chabad High School in Pittsburgh, and then I went to Israel for a year, and I came back. My dad was very smart. He made me promise that he made me apply to universities and get deferred before he agreed to pay for my year in Israel, because he did not want me staying in Israel. So I went to Israel for the year, had a great year, and then I came to BU. And I remember very clearly walking up the stairs of Chabad, and you came down and you were like, who are you? So we told you who we were, and you were like religious? Like, why are you going to come here? So I was like, I don't know, because I'm going to university. And you're like, you know what? If you're going to go to university, this is a good one. You should come to, you should like be a part of Chabad, come to Chabad. So yeah, that was how I got to BU, and had 4 great years, was very involved in Chabad, and then I moved to New York for a few years, and then I came to Israel. And we can get into that.
You had the Israel bug?
I always had the Israel bug, always. Since I spent a summer in Israel on a Chabad trip.
Seth, where's his feedback coming from?
It's coming through Idan. I've got him muted, and I don't know exactly what the speaker issue is, but if we just keep him muted until he speaks, then we're good.
Okay.
I think that's a good policy. No, just so I always had the Israel bug. I came when I was 16, loved it. That's why my dad knew that I would want to stay, which I did want to stay after my year in Israel. But I came back, did university, and then I always knew I was going to like come back to Israel for good, but I just didn't know when. So I went to university, and then I worked a few years and lived in Crown Heights and worked in the city, and then saved up money, and then came to Israel and did my second degree And that's actually where I met Idan's brother, who I studied my master's degree with Idan's brother Gore, and I actually met Idan in like the parking lot of our university one time, and then many years later we started dating.
Okay, Idan, your turn. You can
Sure.
unmute him.
Good. So, what do you want to know, Rabbi Posner?
I want 5 minutes and tell me your life story.
My life story. Born in Tel Aviv to an Israeli, a third generation Israeli secular socialist family. In its current iteration, interestingly enough, my great grandfather made Aliyah straight from the Ukraine. He was a Chabad Chassid, a Talmid Chacham, which had coincidentally tickets to the United States of America, but last minute conscience made him turn and make Aliyah to Israel. They had an inn in Ramle, and my great grandfather passed away on my grandfather's bar mitzvah, and threw my family into a vortex, which was difficult, took years to come out of, and ended up as a secular family. I as a growing boy had a clear understanding of Hashem from a background of ignorance, unfortunately, as I was raised, and over the years it took form in filling that. It took quite some years to fill with the mitzvahs and Torah observance, etc. And fleshing it out, that more abstract, deeper understanding I had as a boy in an environment that didn't support that, strictly speaking, and sometimes frowned upon that, unfortunately. And I definitely knew by the time I was getting ready to settle down that I was looking for somebody like Rachel, a fine Jewish woman with a good Jewish soul, to build a Jewish home, a proper Jewish home. And after, like Rachel said, after I saw her for the first time, it took me to get my business together, getting more serious about things. And here we are now, I guess. That's the short of it. But personally, I was, again, as I said, born in Tel Aviv, did the whole Israeli, spiel with the military, and dabbled in some higher education, etc.
Wow. So you became more observant, and how did your parents take that?
They weren't ecstatic about it. I never asked them because it's not really relevant. I tried to follow a Chabad frame of mind, and within my limited constraints, do the best that I can, and to, as the Rebbe suggested, like improve every day, at least do my best to improve every day. And in that context, try to be a beacon of a proper Jewish life, and not go into a theoretical discussion with my closer family, but show them how a Jewish life is conducted from the side, without presumption, just because I think in Israel, unfortunately, as you might know, sometimes there's a misunderstanding of Orthodox Jewish life.
What does that mean?
There's, unfortunately, for political reasons in Israel, it seems that some individuals see it useful or beneficial to pit Jews against one another, in the sense that some Jew that's Orthodox or secular would think that somebody is taking somebody from the other, and I think that's a distorted picture of reality, and I think that the Chabad energy of inclusion of everybody constantly, all the time, is, I think, a remedy to our people historically and definitely currently. That's why I try to follow, if I answered your question.
Wow. You have children?
Lovely children, 4 kids. I always say Rachel has a special recipe for children. They come amazing. Each one of them, we're just talking the other day, is quite a character, and they have their angle towards life and Judaism and their quirks and their fortes, and they're a real constant joy, to follow, to live with, and to see them grow and learn from them.
Where are they now?
Sleeping.
Oh, it's
Should
nice.
they better be?
Hopefully.
How old are they?
The eldest, Tzvi Shmuel, is 11 now. His younger sister, Mayan Batya, she's just turned 9. Their still younger sister, Tom Miriam, is 6 now. And our youngest, Ozdi Yitzchak, is 2 years old.
Wow. Kenai Nahara. Wow.
Full house.
It's so nice. So nice. So where do you guys live now?
We live in Karnei Shomron. We started off in Tel Aviv, moved to Ra'anana, which was both Rachel and mine living in a Jewish Anglo community, which was a lovely community in Ra'anana. And then 7 years later, we decided to make Aliyah to Samaria and to improve our position 400 meters up in the Samaria mountains, where we moved into a house now.
So the improvement was the house. We had a house
Improvement
before.
was Yeshuv Eretz Yisrael and living in Samaria.
Seth.
And the house.
Seth, they're settlers.
No, I know someone who lives there. It's like the one place that I actually know the name of the town. I'm like, oh, I know someone who's there. Great, cool. I don't know if you guys know of Victor Fold. I mean, the Fold last name is fairly
Yeah,
well known.
Talia babysits for my kids.
Okay.
If you know her.
I don't know his family. I just know him because we do the DOF together. So
One of his kids babysits for you?
Yeah, Talia.
Is this this is not incredible to you? You said you just like let that fly, like, oh, big deal?
I didn't think that it was going to be
One
a
of
big
the
town.
major themes of the Pos-cast is Hashgacha Pratis, or as you guys say, Hashgacha Pratit. And that's why these guys are on. I mean, because of that picture that Arik sent, like, boom. By the way, I don't know, I can tell my part of the story here, that when they got married, they invited me to officiate at the wedding. And I think it was right after a birthright trip. And so the birthright trip ended at the airport. And then Idan came by with this little car, like a two-seater. And I got into it, and I said, I said, okay, this is great for me, but you got to buy yourself a minivan because you got to fill it up with kids. And I met your father then, your parents. We went out for dinner or something before the wedding, and we became very good friends. After an initial, like, something happened, and he got up and left the table. I just in my mind. It was something I said or didn't say, I could have said or whatever, something.
No, I think Idan's mom started in heavy with like, why are, women second-class citizens in Judaism, or I don't know, something like that. And you're like, okay, well, nice to meet you.
But I think it all worked out. For me, it was just amazing to be there, to be in Israel, to be
for us as well.
To be at Rachel's
we have
wedding.
Exceptional memories from that time.
The picture in my mind is right after the chuppah. Remember, I gave you a kiss, and he was like,
"We have that. We have that picture."
He gave him a kiss right on his cheek. It was like after the chuppah. It was powerful. It was amazing. Anytime, and I got to tell you, being at the oil and seeing that picture of that you and Arik and his family, and you are like from different eras of the Chabad house, and you're both living like in the same. I don't know. You'll talk about it a little more, but same yeshuv. To me, was like this. Like it was crazy. It was like you think at some point, it's enough for I've been here for over 40 years in Boston, and I'm at the Rebbe's oil. And I get that picture, and it's like the Rebbe saying, this is nice. You've done some good stuff. I mean, some good stuff happened through you. Now get back there and continue doing it, and let's move on. This is your birthday present. Now move on and make it a year of more action and more good deeds. And yeah, yeah.
Oh, Hashem,
So how's life in Israel? Rachel, what were the things in Israel that were, I don't know, most disruptive to you? Like, I can't believe I'm here.
Just, I think, living every day like amongst like Jewish people in the Jewish homeland, and like you see, you know, Torah like coming to life. I mean, also places, but also like, just, I don't know, history, like living Jewish history in a way. It sounds maybe a little bit cliche, but it's very true. Um, and also, I think we have like an additional element that we live in the Shomron, which is very meaningful, especially now since October 7th. Like, I just am so thankful that we ended up moving out here. Um, and yeah, it's just great to be amongst your people, like, um, I don't know, since October 7th, I never felt, oh, everyone has to live in Israel. All Jews should like make Aliyah. I never was that person. I never felt like that. But I don't know, something changed after October 7th, and I'm just very thankful that I'm here. And I think anyone who feels a draw to Israel really should take advantage of that. Because I always felt like, after October 7th, it was like we know who our enemies are. And everyone felt very united, and like all of Israel was united, really. Like, it was an amazing time in a weird, very sad, tragic way. Um, and I kind of felt like bad for Jews abroad. Like, you don't know if your next door neighbor or your, desk partner at work, like, you don't know what they really think. And I felt like, okay, here at least, everyone's united and in the same boat and fighting for the same cause. So, yeah, I feel like it's a meaningful existence, in short, especially living in the Shomron.
But don't you think that people living outside of Israel feel like that's the last place in the world I want to go? You're so vulnerable there to attack, and then like this, October 7th, like shook up the whole world, the whole Jewish world specifically. Like, oh my goodness, like this is crazy. This is like you're a sitting duck there. You have all these enemies around you, and
I honestly, that's what I was kind of alluding to before. I really feel like, oh, I feel so bad for Jews abroad. In a way, I mean, I don't know how else to say it. Like, yeah, I guess you could look at it and say, oh, we're sitting ducks, but like, look at the miracles that happen throughout this war. Really, like, unfortunately, through people who maybe aren't aren't so deserving, but Hashem really made miracles during this war. And like, I just feel like, again, everyone was united. And there's so many different political views and so many different religious views here, and there's so much infighting, from time, throughout Israel's history. But like, after October 7th, people were 100% united about like who our enemies are, and having to fight them. And I just felt like abroad, you just don't know. Like, people you thought were your friends, professors you thought were your, you know, guidance, in university, like, they turned on you, and you just, I don't know. I really feel like, oh, bad for for Jews
yeah,
abroad that don't know who their friends and enemies are.
I think it's always when you look at whether Americans looking at people living in Israel, Israelis looking at America. Like Hani, my wife, Hani went not this summer, the summer before. They took all the shluchas like for 3 days to Israel. Like that was like their midsummer conference, and they were in Israel, and and they went to comfort people, and the Israelis who are like wounded or lost people. They're like comforting her, like, it's so bad in America. We're always davening for you guys in America. We're like, what? It's like everybody sees, the negative that's going on and don't see the positive, and
Yeah.
that's yeah. So, so Idan, tell me about you're living in a like, what does it mean to live in a yishuv? Like, what is that, and what's life like? What's Jewish life like?
Well, actually, it's quite lovely. It's more than I could have imagined, to be honest. Connecting to your initial question, coming from a secular background, often there isn't really structured community, definitely not a close knit one. So moving somewhere like this in Ranana, I started getting a taste of what it is to live in a Jewish community, which was a new experience and a wonderful one. And here it's on steroids. I call it Little America. It's like little square houses with a lawn, open lawn in the front. Everybody speaks English. Everybody knows each other's kids. On Shabbos and Yom Tov, the streets are empty of cars. The kids can go play out and visit one another on the way back from shul. I'm spoiled for choice for shuls around here. The community is extremely supportive, and I think connecting obviously does exist in the United States of America and in several places, but it's very profound here, and I think it's not an insular example here. I just think a very nice one. So the community will support one another for births or deaths, unfortunately, with food, with help, with work on the house, and the experience is different, is a very different one, and we're now passing the threshold of a town / city. I'm not sure what would that be called in American numbers. But the prime minister was scheduled to come here to make some announcements, etc. So it's not a small village anymore, and I feel spoiled as far as modern comforts. I feel that this is Yeshuv Aretz for spoiled people. I have to make a very little effort. Speaking of America. The only thing that I can think of, I need to leave the yeshuv is I want to get the new refrigerator. So maybe nobody sells big refrigerators around here. But apart from that, most of the year you can accomplish anything within the constraints of town, and that's maybe that's your question. If I
Wow.
was something specific you wanted to know.
So the yeshuv, which means means that the amount of people, it's called a yeshuv, then it becomes a city. How does what do you?
A yeshuv is a general, it's quote unquote settlement, and unfortunately, settlement turned into a very loaded word, which presumes to make a distinction between things which have no distinction. Because Tel Aviv is a yeshuv for that matter, and Ramat Gan is a yeshuv, and Haifa is a yeshuv, and Yerushalayim is a yeshuv. And everybody here is settling Eretz Israel, and everybody here is olim, and everybody here is what do you call them? Pioneers, they used to call them chalutzim. What I did was used to be called chalutzim when my great grandfather made aliyah. So we're another phase of the chalutzim.
Wow. So Rachel, how does it feel to have Israeli children?
Weird.
It's weird for her. Like when the kids can live on hummus and pita, it goes a bit against Rachel's grain, but I think she learned to live with it.
No, even weirder is when they speak English with an accent, and I'm like, you don't say hamburger, like hamburger.
Wow. And where do they go to school? Is like a local school there?
Yeah, there's a few like religious schools, one big secular school. So my kids go to one of the religious schools. My son goes to one, and my daughters go to another one. And my two youngest are like in Gan still, so they just play all day.
Oh, nice. And what eventually, like, your son will end up going to yeshiva somewhere? How does this? What's the long range?
Yeah, there's a high school yeshiva here.
Good one.
But also some boys go out. I'm not there yet, so I don't know the differences. But some go out, some stay here. Not sure. But yeah, there's all options here. I mean, this yeshuv is we call it Shomron Light because It's about 20 minutes from Kfar Saba and 15 minutes from the industrial zone of Kfar Saba, and there's like 12,000 people, I think. So it's like a little city. It's, like Idan said, you have everything here. It's comfortable.
And it's a mix. There's religious, not religious.
Yeah,
Very
there's a
diverse.
mix. There's a mix of people. I think probably most people are religious, like the majority, but it's still probably like 60-40 or something like
Uh-huh.
that.
And there's still nobody
Yeah, it's about
driving,
that.
even though you have 40%.
Our specific neighborhood is called Neve Eliza, and it was founded by Americans in the 80s. So our neighborhood is closed off on Shabbat, but not all of Karnei Shomron is closed off.
So you guys, the neighbor. So if a non-religious person wants to buy a house down the block from you,
I guess they could, but they would definitely have to be respectful on Shabbat because there's like clear signs marking the neighborhood that's closed off.
so wow, huh? Interesting.
It's like Rachel said. It's a very interesting melange of communities and individuals. It's separated into at least 8 distinct clusters, which are connected as a town because of the topography here, which is hilly, as I've mentioned in the beginning, and it's very smooth. That there's no friction here, which is very interesting. Now that I never even thought about it. That there's no, everything is working together. Mesorati Jews, Orthodox Jews, Hasidim, Dati Leumi, secular, Russian. You have everything here.
That's incredible because that goes against what everybody thinks about Israel.
Yeah, but
the
this makes the
secular.
news, but it's like 1%.
Say it again.
This is 1% of what's happening here, but that makes for good news. Unfortunately, everything fine. The joke about the kid that never spoke till they made his egg wrong. So most Jews don't have anything bad to say because it's all great.
Right. Amazing. Amazing. Wow. Wow. Okay. What's your parting words to our audience?
As far as I'm concerned, do find your part in the Jewish people that you need to do and work on that, and with God's grace, He'll give you the strength and wisdom to do a little bit at least of what Rabbi Posner is doing for all his life. And I must tell you on this occasion, I think about you often, although we don't speak very often. You're definitely a very impressive example in absolute terms, and with it, of course, the Jewish context. And I would urge any Jew to take an example from you and to find out their good work wherever they are, like you do in Boston, and again, and move forward and upward.
Thank you.
Yeah, similar sentiment. Be Jewish. Just do something Jewish. Be Jewish every day. Yeah.
Well, this is amazing. This is so beautiful to hear. Like just a positive, good report from a city, a town in Israel, and yeah, you're doing your part there. We got to do our part here, and yeah, Mashiach will come. We'll all be there, and Seth and I will definitely come with our families and visit you. So make room in the house.
Please do.
Bezrat Hashem.
Maybe
Plenty of room
take
for
the room
everybody,
out.
by the way.
Huh?
Plenty of room for everybody here.
Great. Okay.
With that, thank you so much for listening to episode 144 of the Pos-cast with Rabbi Shmuel Posner. We will see you next week.